In May of 2016, I went to Spain for the first time. Every single day was a new adventure. We saw all kinds of places. Each day had its own set of firsts. Often I was exhausted, but all the time it was worth it. Some days it was cathedrals, other days it was museums, monuments, streets, statues. No matter what the day was, I could always expect something new. Some of the places I saw, I had learned about in class. Other places I'd never heard of in my life. But it wasn't just places. I got to meet an incredible group of people along the way. One of my favorite things about the city here is the constant mix of the very old with the very new. There are places in the city that have only been constructed within the past few years, but at the same time, I'm living amongst ruins that are hundreds and hundreds of years old. The past 3 weeks have flown by, but I'm leaving this country knowing I'm even more excited to return to study abroad for a semester. The only problem I had on my trip was the fact that it's pretty obvious how American I am. I realized this when people would immediately speak English to me rather than assume I could speak Spanish. This was pretty easy to fix. I could just respond in Spanish. And considering all the things that could have gone wrong or could have bothered me on a trip like this, I was incredibly lucky. One of the biggest differences between my life in the United States and my life here in Europe is that we walk everywhere. It quickly became the biggest change in my everyday life. The majority of the streets here were constructed long before cars were even thought of, so they were built for people, and more or less that's the way it stayed. From the places that I'd learned about in school to places I'd never even imagined, from start to finish, this trip was unforgettable.